The next person I want to talk about is solely in the Infernal devices. Um, Silas Lightwood. He created. He committed suicide because he was in love with his parabashad, that beautiful Greek word that describes one's partner as a shadow hunter. And I feel as though it's safe to say that he was in love with his male Parabashi, because it just doesn't make sense for him to commit suicide because he was in love with a woman. It feels like when someone commits suicide, it's because there's something socially unacceptable about. They think that there's something socially unacceptable about what they're doing because people are putting this outward projection of that. And so I feel as though he committed suicide because he was in love with another man. Because if it was a woman, they could have left the clave. I don't. And there was a scene. Oh my gosh, and like Charlotte's about to say something that I can't remember who interrupted, who opened the door, or was like, hey, Charlotte. I'm like, no, you go away. We're about to find out what happened to Silas. And I don't know if they're going to touch on it in this series, but at least we have another character that is, gay, and he's not killing himself. I mean, Alec is in love with Magnus, which... Oh gosh. Okay. For some reason, I've written in ethereal in between this. This would have been a great segue to go talk about Magnus and Alec, but I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna try and stick to my paper here. Ethereal. I'm not sure if he's dead. Because in Clockwork Princess, when Tessa becomes him, he's like 20 feet tall, and he like grabs Mortmain and like crushes him in his hand. The ethereal that we see in the Mortal Instruments is like Jace's height and his size and things like that. So I'm like, I feel like he's not dead, and he came connect. His dots connected because he's like tied to the Herondale family. Like he protected Tessa for her to live, so that means that he made it possible for Jace to be born, because he Will and Tessa made love, and she was alive because of him. And then he's also like, his blood is inside of Jace, so he's like connected to them, and it's like he was protecting one, and then he's like the reason one is like a little more angelly, and it's incredible Cassandra Clare did that. This video is extremely long. I'm sorry. I feel like Ethereal is going to be part of Heavenly Fire. I mean, I guess because we know Jace is infected with the fire, but I feel like the angels are going to get more involved, and Ethereal's like, I don't think he's dead because he was huge in that scene, and in Clockwork Princess, and he was really small, and he even says to Tessa like, this is like a little part of me. But yeah, I'm rambling about that subject. On to Magnus and Alec. I just felt it coming. Camille was so jealous of Alec. She's like, oh, so first you cheat on me with this little black hair, blue eyed dude, and now you're dating another one 100 and some years later. Really? Oh, I'm about to throw some salt up in this game. And so she's like totally jealous of Alec. I wish Magnus had said something like, I just did that to make you mad. Like, we weren't really dating. Like, he fell in love with a warlock that was a woman and not me. So they break up, and I'm just like, I'm going to skip this part. Like, I literally was like, I was preparing myself to skip, but I was like, just read it. And I was just like, oh, gosh. It's so depressing. Their relationship was so solid. Like, everybody else is like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I don't know who I want. But Alec and Magnus are like, okay, this is good. I'm good. You're good. You got blue eyes. I got blue fire. We're meant for each other. And so I didn't like that they broke up, but it happened. I'm excited to see how they get back together because there are no other options. But Alec is like in this room with Maureen, and that's like the last thing we read about him. So she just killed Camille. I don't see why she would be like, oh, you can go ahead and leave, Alec. I'm not going to kill you. So I hope the Heavenly Fire does not start with his funeral because I will be devastated. Oh gosh. So in closing, I'm going to talk about Simon. I freaking love Simon as a character. Somehow he's maintained his Simonness without becoming like even being a vampire. He hasn't lost who he is at his core. He's changed a little bit, as Clary pointed out in City of Glass, but he's still Simon, and I love him as a character, and I love that he's still himself. I cried like a little weotch when his mom would let him in the house. I just, actually, anytime something happens to Simon, I feel like he's our mundane point of view. Even still, when he's a vampire, like he's still experiencing these things as a mundane. And for some reason, anytime something happens to him, I'm like, and I'm just crying, like literally crying, like laying on my bed, like, are you okay, dude? Like, I'm so lucky that no one's like walked in, like, what are you crying about? I'm like, Simon. His mama will let him in the house. I have serious mental issues. I think it only becomes a problem when I can admit that, though, right? If not, so yeah, that was enough for me. Talking about how I cry at Simon's misfortunes when I'm reading them. And so, yeah, Simon was the last character that I wanted to talk about. So those were my closing statements about the characters. And to end the video, I'm going to read to you. I'm going to read to you one of my favorite Charlotte and Gabriel moments. And I'm only going to read Gabriel's part, and I'm going to read it as though I'm trying out for a part. If Gabriel, if they needed somebody to play Gabriel, and they were short, black, and fat, balding, using a fake British accent, then I could play Gabriel if that was needed for the role. I'm going to read just his parts, and the scene is Charlotte asks Gabriel she sends for Gabriel to come, and she's basically like, I know I'm going through a lot's going on, it's happening, but you look like you've been, a little woozy, a little shaky these past couple days, and I don't want you to think that we're not thinking about you. I don't want you to think that we've lost sight of your issue that you're having. He's like, what issue? She's like, boy, your daddy. And so of course he's like, what? What? He's bewildered, and he doesn't believe that it's genuine, and so he proceeds to say, after everything that's happened, after Jim and Will and Jessamine and Tessa, after your household has been nearly cut in half, you do not wish me to believe that you have forgotten me. That cannot be it. You cannot want to comfort me. You ask me to find out if my loyalty is still to my father or to the Institute. I cannot give you the answer that you want. I cannot forget that he stayed with me. My mother died and Gideon left, and Tatiana is a useless fool. And there was never anyone else. Never anyone to bring me up, and I had nothing. Just my father, just the two of us. And now you and Gideon, you expect me to despise him, but I can't. He was my father, and it doesn't matter, because I killed my father. I put an arrow through his eye. I spilled his blood patricide. If that was not my father, if I did not end my father's life, then where is he? Where is my father? Where is my father? Gabriel felt Charlotte reach up to draw him down, to embrace him as a mother would, holding him as he choked dryly against her shoulder, tasting tears in his throat, but unable to shed them. When he felt her tighten her hold on him, he felt the iron in her grip, the strength of her holding him up, and wondered how he had ever thought this small woman was weak. That is one of my favorite parts. If you want to pause me and put in Charlotte's parts and, you know, try to make it a little play of it, you can. And I'm not an actor. I hadn't had any formal acting training, and I'm not very good at accents. It's one of my favorite parts, and it's one of the first parts that I repeatedly read out loud. And I'm pretty sure some of my family was like, "We got a couple people up there in the head." Got a couple people. No, I don't. That no, I know for sure. But that is one of my favorite Charlotte moments. Just incredible how she breaks down this barrier that he has up, of thinking that she's weak and useless, and that he's going to, you know, rat her out and say that there's no credibility, and she just is a mother and a woman and is beautiful, and I love that. So yeah, this is the end of my long video, and thank you for watching if you watched, and I really appreciate it, and I can't wait for City of Heavenly Fire. Alas, we have a year for that, but hey, I think it's gonna be well worth it. So peace out, enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, morning, whatever. Yeah, bye.